So we have already seen what is OWASP. Now let's start exploring what is OWASP BWA. So what exactly OWASP BWA is, let me show it to you first. We have already installed this OWASP VM, right? So BWA stands for Broken Web Application. So this web application is intended to be broken as in it is already vulnerable, and we are going to launch some attacks on this particular machine. So I would request you to kindly start your OWASP virtual machine. Just start this machine, OWASP, whatever name you might have given. In my case it is OWASP new because I had 2 instances of OWASPs. So over here my OWASP machine is running. So if I press enter over here, yeah, so this should be it. This is nothing but your OWASP virtual machine. Only thing that we need is the IP. So that should not change if you have not turned your machine off. But in case if you have turned your machine off, then the IP addresses will change. Okay, no issues. If you have not written the IP addresses, you can simply go over here to your OWASP virtual machine and type IP space AD. That is the same thing which we had done in the last virtual machine also, that is the Metasploitable virtual machine. So the commands will remain same because these are all Linux based machines. So as you can see over here, the IP address is 192.168.0.112. So kindly note down your IP address somewhere in Notepad so that you don't need to recollect it again and again. So I will write it down over here. 192.168.0.112. Fine. So now what you need to do is you simply need to copy this IP address and go to your browser, any browser. So go to your browser and type in this particular IP address, that is 192.168.0.112. And you should be able to see something like this. Just the only concern is they all should be on the same network. And if you remember, we had seen something called as bridged network and NAT network during our very first day. That time also I had told you that if you want to make sure that all the virtual machines are running on the same network, you have to make use of the bridged adapter, and that is what we have done. That is where we are going to launch our attacks. This is basically, just now you saw how Burp Suite can be used to launch an attack on a web application, right? So it was a real life web application, but it was running inside a virtual environment. Over here also we are doing the same thing. This is an intended virtual environment which is created for launching such kind of an attacks. So as you can see, this is the VM for Open Web Application Security Project, Broken Web Applications, BWA. It contains many vulnerable web applications which are listed below. More information can be found from their webpage. So as you can see, if I scroll down a little, there are so many web applications present over here. So if you want to learn how to hack web applications from the learning point of view, then you can get access to so many applications. As you can see, there is something called as BWAP, Broken Web Application. So you need to log in. The email ID is user ID is given as B and bug. Already everything is mentioned. You can set the security level and log in. Not activated. Okay, let's see. 1 second. Yeah, so once you log in, this is how it looks like. As you can see, all those OWASP vulnerabilities which we saw during our PPT presentation, all those vulnerabilities are present over here. It's a huge list. So if you want to practice something, simply download this. It's a really, we can say it's a treasure chest where multiple things can be done using different applications. Here multiple applications are there. OWASP Juice Shop is there. OWASP Zap is there. Multiple tools and applications are there. At this point of time, we will focus on something else. I will show you later. But first of all, just we are exploring what exactly this OWASP BWA is all about. That is our first task for the day. If you see, exploring OWASP. Okay, so you can see HTML injection, reflected post, reflected get, then LDAP, mail injection, server side injection, SQL injection. There are a lot of these things available over here, and they are actually based on the OWASP level. So when this virtual machine was created, I guess that time OWASP 2017 was prevalent, and as a result, A1, that is injection was number one priority at that time. So if you remember, there were 10 different vulnerabilities from A1 to A10, and in the 2017 OWASP top 10, we had A1 on top. So inside injection, we have so many attacks possible. Then comes broker authentication, session management, and multiple attacks are over there. Then comes cross-site scripting and so on. So there are different attacks possible, classified in those 10 we can say vulnerabilities, and then we can select any one of these. For example, I'm just giving a demo or walkthrough of how these commands actually, how these tools actually work. For example, let me see this SQL injection login form. Simply click on hack and you will have a virtual environment which mimics a true website, which mimics a real website. So it might be there might be a login page somewhere on any of the websites where the attackers would want to try and log in. So what you can do is you can try different combinations over here and check whether that website is vulnerable to SQL injection or not. I will explain what is SQL injection in detail, don't worry. I'll give the theoretical background behind what is SQL injection, and then we will start with it. My only intention is to show that this particular virtual machine is actually having so much capabilities that you can launch n number of attacks and learn how it works. Similarly, there are multiple other tools where you would be able to launch any kind of complex or sophisticated attacks as well. So let me go back to OWASP. As you can see, training applications, these are the training applications. Then comes something called as realistic intentionally vulnerable applications. Over here we have many such applications. See this mimics a real world web application where you can click on something called as click here to play guess number, a game to guess a number the computer has picked. So if I click over here, this is basically like we can say a very basic flash game where you have to enter your name and click on the play button to begin playing. So for example, let's see what it does. Enter your first guess and then click on the guess button. Suppose I click on 4, guess. Your guess was not valid. Enter a 3-digit number as a guess. So this is nothing but a web application which is running, full-fledged web application, and your task is to attack that web application and try to gain access to it. So see, last guess was 412, had 1 numbers found. So out of 412, I was able to find 1 number which was correct, 0 in the right position. So it can be anywhere. So it's simply a game, but we can try to crack into this game by making use of this text box. I can try to exploit this particular text box by typing something and checking whether how it is reacting. So for example, if I enter 1, okay, see, you have requested results for guest num player, error in select guest num. What is this exactly? Can any one of you tell me what is happening? I simply entered 1 and a single quote just in the text box to check whether the website reacts in a particular fashion or not. What exactly is happening? Can any one of you let me know? You have requested results for guest num player 1 apostrophe, that is single quote, error in select name guess count TOD from guest num where so and so. It is mentioning that you have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL version at line number so and so. So what is happening over here? So what I did is I tried to enter something, and based on that something, there was a reaction from that web server. So what I will do is, based upon that reaction, I will try to gain access to this web server database. For example, I might try to do something like this. Let me show you a command, and you should be able to guess what exactly I'm trying to do. Let me try and use some commands. I will explain what I'm trying to do. Let's see if it works or not. If I enter something like this, see, you have requested results for guest num, but no entries were found. So what is this? Now there is no reaction from the SQL engine. There is no error found. No messages, error messages, but something might pop up. So you have an error in your SQL syntax, check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL server version for the right syntax to use near this. I will explain this in detail what exactly this is all about. Basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to find something from that database by simply using certain commands. That is nothing but what we call as injection. We are trying different strings over here, and with the help of those strings we are trying to gain access to the backend database.